Hi and welcome to this episode 14 of Land Rovers Live. As always, I'm Matt. Coming up on today's show, we're going to head over to Harper Adams University where we took a look at a different way of getting educated. But first up, we've got some news, and currently, online now, we'll put a link on the screen, Land Rover have got some job vacancies at Special Vehicle Operations, which, if you're anything like me, is incredibly exciting. Sadly, I've got a job that I have to stick at, but for those of you who want a career in automotive and to do something a bit more out of the ordinary, do check it out. They've got a lovely little video that goes with it as well. Now recently, many of you, particularly those on Facebook or if you're part of various different forums, will have noticed that there are a whole host of Land Rovers being stolen left, right and centre at the moment. Headlights being stolen from Range Rovers to grow cannabis, which is very naughty, and it's been going on for a while now, but the spate of Defender bonnet thefts as well. Now there are various products out there to secure your Land Rover. We've reviewed some in the past and we're bringing you some more stuff in coming months. But if you're not already a member of Landy Watch, then head over to there after this video and check them out. Now their community is about 1,500 large, but there are plenty more Defender owners out there than that. And after speaking to Richard, the founder of Landy Watch, he's told us that really people are going on to Landy Watch once they've had their vehicle stolen, which is the obvious place to go really. But you really could be on there, or should be on there, or we're going to encourage you to be on there anyway. What's really good about it is it lets you know where in the country vehicles are being stolen. So currently, where I live in South Birmingham, there are a whole host of Defenders being pinched left, right and centre around there. And it's shown quite clearly on the map, so I can take extra precautions and, most importantly, keep a lookout for any of the Land Rovers that have gone missing. Now, there are various hotspots in the UK and probably all over the world, but the ones we know about are in the UK. Up in Newcastle, in the South Birmingham region, into Warwickshire and Worcestershire. And across the south coast, there seems to be an even amount of Land Rovers being stolen. Of course, you may notice that this is all on the rise as TDI 200 Defenders now become exportable to the USA and the end-of-life Defender will come to an end. So be extra vigilant. We've got a whole load of tips and tricks that we'll be bringing from the police and various other authorities over the next few weeks about Defender thefts and some other interesting insights as well. But for now, head over to Landy Watch, check out the map. It shows you the last 250 vehicles stolen. If there's any around by you, well, keep your eyes peeled. And as well as that, what we've learnt in recent times is that it's an often held misconception that when Defenders are being stolen, they're being put into crates and sent abroad and start a whole new life over there. Whilst we're sure that is the case with a fair percentage of them, that's not the case with all of them. What we're learning, and what we're continuing to learn, is that actually these vehicles aren't going all that far. Sure, they're being stripped down for parts, as you'd expect really. They're very easy to conceal the identity of a Defender in that way. But they're not going all that far from where they were taken. Now, sadly, I wouldn't like to put a percentage on it, but there are a number of people within the Land Rover community who are stealing these Defenders. They know what they're looking for, they know the different years, models and derivatives and how to get rid of this stuff, because it seldom reappears. If you or anybody that you know has seen anything fishy activity or have any leads that, or things that you just like us to be aware of, do let us know. We've actually put a box on our website which is completely anonymous. We don't ask for an email address and we won't be using the information to send to police. But what we do want to do is just build up a bit of a picture of what's going on around the country in terms of stolen Defenders. So we'll put a link to that on the screen now, and whatever information you can give us to help will be useful. It'll help us build up a picture of trends where we can see vehicles going missing in certain areas and safer in other areas, and what sort of security is working and not working. So do let us know. It's all for a good cause. Now, coming up, a few weeks ago we went over to a university with a bit of a difference. This university is an agricultural university, so it's all about tractors and sheep and all sorts of other things like that. As well as that, they have an off-road course and an actual off-road course as well.
We've evolved a lot from where we came from originally. Historically, Harper Adams is an agricultural college. Hasn't been an agricultural college for more than 20 years now. And we have full university status. We have our own degree awarding powers. The guys, certainly on the engineering courses, work very hard. They don't have a lot of time for cider drinking.
And I thought that's the university for me, because there was an off-road club.
Well, I looked around a lot of other universities, and the thing I liked about Harper was the mix between the theoretical knowledge that you gain here, mixed in with the practical application of it. That we're actually doing real-world applications of our theory. So it's not just learning about formulas in books and textbooks. We're doing experiments in the soil hall that we have here, involving traction, slip pull, and also then the hydraulics applications. We have a training rig here, and it's just great to have the hands, not hands-on in terms of just using a spanner sort of thing. It's actually physically applying it in the real world. That means that when you go into the real world and get a job in a career, industry won't have to teach you all the little things about it. You know, you're ready to go straight into industry, hit the ground running when you leave Harper.
The off-road course is actually a suite of courses that we offer at various levels. So they're all degree levels, but from foundation degree, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Engineering and Master of Engineering. The people who come on the courses predominantly are post-18. Where they're going to ultimately is a whole range of roles in a variety of companies. So everybody from the little tiny design consultancies, the one-man design offices, right through to the big names like Jaguar Land Rover, BAE Land Systems, JCB, those kinds of places.
Agriculture in general is changing. I mean, the shift went from small tractors up to larger tractors, and now back down. We're even going at Harper Adams, we're researching into microscopic robots sort of this size to do all the work for you. So I mean, eventually there won't be any sort of cider drinking farms, as you say. There will be just robots going about doing the work all by themselves. I mean, it's a more efficient way of doing it, less manpower, and more efficient in terms of energy use as well.
We have a big co-curriculum, so extracurricular activities that are supported by the university. And one of those things is we've got a big off-road club. We've also got a motorsport club who are getting into the higher speed end of off-road motorsport. So they're looking at going comp safaring, and they're also looking at going rallying.
Well, as president of the off-road club, I sort of organise the competitions. We do a trial series, we have socials at the pub. We're planning some trips out to places like West Midlands Safari Park, just doing general days out and having fun.
Harper Adams has its own off-road track, which we use for I'm in the Harper Adams Off-Road Club, and we all take our Land Rovers out there, and well, basically it always seems like see how we can break it new this time. And it's great just to be able to test out the Land Rover. I mean, if you have a Land Rover, you can't just say, here we go, I can drive it. Learning new things about the car, about the terrain, about how different vehicles will interact with terrain.
It gets used a lot for teaching purposes as well, and then we can have it sort of whenever we want, as long as we ask first. It's probably about 3 or 4 acres, and it was all dug out, I think about 10 years ago. And then we go on it, and we spent about a week at the start of this year redigging the track and making it new and interesting for all the new people coming. And then it keeps changing it up a bit for us and giving us some new challenges. So it's quite a good little track. We hold a trial series once a month where people can either bring and compete in their own vehicles, or they can use our club challenge truck if they haven't got their own. We try and make the trials sort of as varied as possible, so people with different ability vehicles aren't always going to be better, and like included in the series there'll be sort of a trailer reversing competition and other things, so everyone's got a fair chance of coming away at the end winning.
My Land Rover history started when I was 17. My first car was a 2 1/4 diesel Series 3, which I've still got actually, although not on the road at the moment. So yeah, I've been a Land Rover owner for a long time.
It runs in the family. I mean, farmers in general always have the Land Rover. It's sort of a thing you have to have. But my Land Rover I have at the moment has been in the family since 1978. It's a 6-cylinder Series 3, 109-inch.
I was always into off-roading. I don't know if I should say this, but we had a Suzuki Vitara, all souped up. At the minute I've got 2 Jimneys and a Defender. And one of the Jimneys is for on-road, one of them's a bit more extreme off-road. It's not a hairdresser's choice. I mean, I've had it on this track here, where everyone in the Land Rovers has been completely stuck and I've still been going round. It gets a bit of abuse, but then as soon as you sort of actually show what it can do, it soon wipes smiles off people's faces.
Our new intake of students starts towards the end of September. We're recruiting all the way through the year, so we have open days in October and November, and then there are interview afternoons in the spring. All the information about the courses and the qualifications that people need to come here are available on the website.
And we'll be sure to return to Harper Adams again very soon in the future. They've got some really interesting stuff going on. As well as that, they did show us some prototype and data gathering machinery that they've built for Jaguar Land Rover in order to assess traction. But that, I'm reliably informed, is a whole other story. Now, in this week's show, we promised you last week a competition and we're giving you one. This week we're giving away the most stuff we've ever given away before, and we'll put a list of it on the screen. So first up, we've got a T-Max High Lift Jack, 2 Bear Mac t-shirts, Mud Curry Hucks, a Maasai wheel step, 1 Land Rover calendar, an LI upholstery bag, and a Vey Frontier stove. Some Craftsman tools, 1948 original equipment mugs, a remote control Range Rover Evoque, and a wheel clamp suitable for any trailer, providing you've got small wheels. And one of you lucky viewers could be in with a shot of winning all of that gear. All we're going to ask you to do this time is to help us out with our 2015 Land Rovers Live survey. Ordinarily we ask you to share or like, but we're going to assume you know that's a given these days. We always appreciate that. But in our survey, we've got fairly simple questions where we're asking about, well, what you enjoy about your Land Rover, what you'd like to see on the show in the future, and what you think of some of the parts and companies that are out there at the moment. We're going to use that information in-house to produce better programming for you guys in the future, and we're not sharing it with any third parties, so don't worry about that. If you're not in it, you cannot win it, and the prize will be drawn, not in the next show, but the show after that. And speaking of the next show, we've got some really big announcements, some things that are going to change on the show, hopefully for the better. Some of you probably a bit sick to the back teeth of me by now, so I could give you a bit of a clue. And as always, if you have any questions, comments or feedback, do get in touch with us on any of the plethora of social networks that we're now on. And just before we go, hot off the presses, apparently adventure is in your genes now. Land Rover, well, I don't know if they've discovered it or not, but they've made a video about it. Apparently there's a gene, the D4D, some or other 7 gene, which makes you adventurous or not. Quite in what way it makes you adventurous, we don't know, but they're using it to punt the Discovery Sport. It's a really good ad, check it out.
If we have an overwhelming desire to explore, perhaps the reason lies in our DNA. There is a genetic variant known as DRD47R, carried by roughly 1 in 4 of all humans. It's more commonly known as the adventure gene. It makes people more curious, less restricted by boundaries. They'll be more likely to take risks and may get a sudden urge to explore. But before you can act on the urge to explore, you'll need the tools to make that exploration possible.
New Discovery Sport. Adventure. It's in our DNA.